Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Let me know if you can hear me okay. And also let me know who's in the house. Can you guys tell me if the volume levels are good, if we're okay? I want to make sure that everyone can hear me. The volume might be a little too low. All right. So is the volume too low? Maybe put a little louder. Give me a thumbs up if the volume's okay. So how's everybody doing today? Everybody okay? I'm glad to see quite a few people in the house already. I'm going to take off these earphones here because I don't really need them. So basically, guys, as you well know, today's the first live show that we're doing in the evening. I put the question out there last time whether or not you guys prefer to have the shows Sunday mornings or in the evenings. I'm pretty flexible and I don't mind either one. Sunday mornings are easier for me because the house is quiet and it gets me started on the right track. And there's nothing better than starting the day with, discussion about gear. But I'm okay with doing it in the evenings. I actually posted a survey, and a lot of you guys answered it, asking the question whether or not you would prefer to do this on Sunday evenings as opposed to Sunday mornings. And actually, the overwhelming majority said that they would prefer to have it on Sunday morning. But hey, we'll see how things go today. You never know. Maybe we can switch it up and have one weekend in the mornings, one weekend in the evenings. I just want to give everybody the opportunity to tune in because some of you have said it's just too early in the morning. It ends up being in the middle of the night in some places in the world. So I definitely wanted to get everybody a chance to tune in on what's going on this channel because we want to expand the visibility. We want to make everybody aware of what we're talking about here so that they can join in and make it a whole bunch more fun for everyone. So anyways, we'll leave it at that for now. We'll see what ends up happening tonight, and from there we can discuss whether or not we want to continue as planned or not. So, what do I want to talk about today, guys? I want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, this craziness with the virus, I have to always start off with a little bit of a rant because I still can't believe there are people in the world that are not listening to instructions. In Canada, I feel that we're way luckier than other places in the world that have been just annihilated by this virus, namely, Eastern Europe. And it's just crazy how they're the actual infrastructure of their hospital systems is just like being battered, and at the same time I see people not listening to what they're supposed to be doing. Stay home, keep your hands clean, don't mingle. Just today somebody forwarded a photo of the airport here where there was probably, I don't know, a couple thousand people coming back from vacation. And they were at the airport and they were all there. They were just like side by side standing together. And I couldn't believe that. I mean, even today, after so many warnings throughout the world, people still don't understand that they have to isolate themselves. And this can't continue to happen if we want to get control on this stuff. And so now, who knows how many of those people are going to be infected? Who knows how many people are staying in hotels on the way, are going to go see loved ones, are going to be mingling with family and friends. It's just insanity. If you're not listening, like, shame on you guys. I really hope you guys are staying safe and listening, because it's essential if we want to get over this thing anytime soon. It's already probably going to be a long haul for all of us, but I figure if people don't understand and continue to do this, it's going to really wreak havoc in terms of the number of fatalities that we're going to be seeing and how many infections we're going to keep on seeing going up and up and up. So spread the word, guys. I'm counting on you guys to help your friends and family stay safe. It's very important. All right. So that's all I want to say about that, except one more thing, because this really I was about to lose it today. Okay. I saw an article just before coming live on, and I had to share this with you guys because I couldn't believe it myself. I hope I could still find the article. Let me see if I still have it here. Where is it? Where did I put it? Here we go. So this is regarding Gibson. You guys know I have a love-hate relationship with Gibson. This is an article I just read, okay? You guys might have already have seen this. It says Gibson guitar forces its factory workers in Nashville to work during the COVID-19. Okay, so I thought this was maybe fake news, whatever, but it seems like it's based in fact here. And it says Nashville-based Gibson Guitars last week ordered its headquarters employees to work from home to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Thumbs up for that, right? However, out at its factory in Old Massam Drive in Nashville, over 300 blue-collar factory workers are being forced to come into Gibson's factory for building guitars. And this is a quote, okay? Somebody was quoted as saying this. The temperature in the plant is 80 degrees with 50 to 60% humidity, which is really not good if you're trying to keep a virus down, says Mel, a Gibson guitar worker, who declined to give their name out of fear of retaliation. Workers at the plant say that it's impossible to maintain 6 feet of social distance in the plant. Likewise, many workers haven't been given protective gloves or masks to wear on the shop floor to avoid the spread of COVID-19. And somebody says, on the assembly line, people are working closely together. We all touch the guitars, says Mel, right? So there's one turnstile in the plant, and twice a day, more than 300 workers try to exit the plant through the same turnstile. Likewise, all the workers use the same time clock to check in, a dangerous vector point for COVID-19. And the article goes on and on and on. And I can't believe Gibson would put, the health of the employee second, but it doesn't surprise me at the same time. I mean, I know that they've been accused of being bullies in terms of everything, like the lawsuits, forcing poor working conditions for their employees, and just, forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. But this is crazy. I mean, honestly, I don't believe I'm actually hearing this, and I hope it's not true. But if it is true, there's a big problem at the company. And it's just like, it just goes on and on. It's a very well-written article. And I think I'll maybe put the link to it in the comment sections below, because, already data indicates that Tennessee may already be suffering a far more severe outbreak of COVID-19 than neighboring Kentucky. And I don't know if this is going to help the situation, but guys, really, pretty crazy. I hate bashing Gibson because I do like their guitars, but at the same time, they keep on doing these things that just drive you crazy. Recently, I don't know if you guys actually heard, but while I'm on the topic of Gibson, they were also kind of in the news because something else was happening Um, I have to just take a message here. Sorry, I was also in the news. They were also in the news because they were being countersued. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Um, Let me just see if I can find that article. I had it here, and I just want to basically heritage guitars. You guys must have already heard of the brand of guitars called Heritage. Well, they were countersuing Gibson as a defensive measure because they were being bullied. They basically were saying that Gibson was basically trying to bully them. And the thing is, Heritage guitars and Gibson go way back because Heritage was started by some ex-Gibson employees, and they actually ended up buying space in the plant to start off the company and get things rolling. And they had an agreement for over 30 years, and everything was fine. But now that the new management came in at Gibson, things are not fine anymore, and they were just feeling that they were being pressured and bullied by Gibson, and they wanted to countersue them or sue them to stop what they were doing. And it seems like Gibson doesn't really care. They're going to steamroll everybody along the way, and it really is leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Again, I figured the old management was bad enough, and I felt a breath of relief when the new management came in, but it seems like it's going to be trouble all over again. So anyways, I don't want to start the show on a bad note, and that's all I want to say about that. I just wanted to get that out of the air, just air it out and get it off my chest so that I can start focusing on some other stuff. So let's start off by saying hello to everyone that is online. And we can see that there's a lot of familiar faces. So I want to say hi to you guys. Vox Guitars Rock, nice to see you there. Lord JP, we have Anna Wurst, we have Paul is online, we have Strat 5150, we have K2, James, we have Zazomat online today. A lot of new faces. I'm glad to see new faces. I guess the evening show is a lot better for some of you guys. We have people from Winnipeg here. Hi from Winnipeg. Paul was online this morning. I guess he got his times messed up, which is understandable. That's okay. And some people are saying morning is better for them. Sunday AM is great. Morning Tonewood. That's a great name for the show. Maybe I should change the name to Morning Tonewood. I like that. I like that. Fat Philosopher's online. Nice to see you. And he's asking, with the virus now, is it buyer's market for used guitars? Good time to buy. You know what? I don't know, man. It seems somebody else was asking me this question. And they were asking me basically if I felt that the virus was going to affect sales, and I think it will. I mean, the main question they were asking was whether or not the virus was going to cause delays in getting merchandise and orders, and I think it will. I mean, I'm already seeing that with certain suppliers that are basically looking. I mean, they're looking for ways to speed things up, but with this virus happening, shortage of materials going to happen for sure. There's going to be supply chain issues. So you will probably not be able to get as many guitars that are not already in the shops. But even the ones that are in the shops, a lot of these shops are going to be closed right now. So if you're looking at buying stuff used, it could be a buyer's market. If you're willing to go out there and meet people while this virus is happening and risk yourself for some gear. But but I don't know if I'd be willing to do that at this point. So I think what's going to happen is things are just going to slow down overall in general. And I think we're going to see people hanging on to stuff, making purchases less often, unless you're ordering online somewhere like Amazon or wherever. But yeah, I think it's going to change things for a while. I don't think, and even releases of new products, anybody that had something scheduled at this point, they're probably going to delay it. They wouldn't necessarily want to throw new products out on the market right now. It's going to be very difficult for people to buy it, So I think that's going to be part of the situation for sure. I think people are just going to want to wait. So the next thing that we have to keep in mind is that, if you're trying to sell stuff too, right? If you're trying to sell your gear right now, you probably will get some takers, even though people are being told to stay home. But at the same time, again, do you want to be meeting people at this time in the game with the virus? I don't know. I would say not. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my feeling on it. You might be able to get some good deals if people get desperate, for sure. If people need money, if they're not working and they want to liquidate some of their inventory, you might be able to get some deals out of it, for sure. But I don't know. I think overall things are just gonna screech to a halt for a little while, anyways. Paul says the amount of C cases doubles every day. I don't know if it's every day, but I think it's mostly every 4 days or so, 3 or 4 days. That's what usually happens from the statistics I've been reading, anyways. Klaatu says, hi, Squire Classic Vibe Series guitars are currently coming with poplar wood. Would it be a drop in the quality in this series? I don't think so. I mean, I had a classic Vibe Telecaster that was made of, was it poplar? Or no, it wasn't poplar. It was pine. The body was pine. And actually, I liked it a lot. It actually sounded great and played great. The only thing with certain types of woods like pine or maybe even poplar, I don't know if poplar is a softer type wood, but the only thing I can say is that pine, for example, I know for a fact, is a softer type wood. So what ends up happening is that if you ding it or hit it somewhere, it's definitely going to mark a lot easier than other types of harder woods. And because they put such a thick poly coating on it, they tend to chip easy. So, you got to watch out for that. But Fender was making bodies out of pine a long time ago, because pine is a relatively cheap wood. It's easy to work with, and it doesn't chew up the bits when you're working with machinery as much as harder woods. Fat Philosopher says tone wood is a myth. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't want to get into that discussion. Yeah, you guys commented on my Strat. Yeah, this is a Fender Road Worn Strat. I'm just playing it. I grabbed it out of my rack. I actually got out all of my Strats recently because I was making a video. It's actually going to air tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. There's a reason for the Strats, but I can't get over. I know a lot of you guys don't like the Road Worn, regardless of the actual relicking. To me, it's one of the most comfortable Strats that I have, and I would say probably one of the most easy to play that I have right now. Somebody asked me at one of the other shows that I was doing which guitar is my favorite, and I told them I had a hard time discerning which one it was because my tastes change all the time. But today, if you ask me right now which one is my favorite Strat, I would say this one. It's just great. It's light, so resonant, and beautiful to play. I love the rosewood fretboard on it, and it feels great. I don't know if you guys have ever tried a Road Worn Strat. This is an older one though. This is probably over 10 years old. So it's not one of the newer ones. I don't know how great the newer ones are. I couldn't comment on that. But this one is kind of old, so it's almost halfway there in terms of being authentically worn. Not all of the wear on this guitar is fake, by the way. A lot of it is was me, um, but you get the idea. There's a lot of love-hate relationships with road-worn Strats because some people just don't love them, don't like them at all, and some people like them a lot. So let's see if there's any comments. I wanted to start off the comments. I just wanted to ask for those of you that are like creative and write your own music or play in a band or try and come up with ideas, creative ideas. Would you say that you're more creative in the evening or in the daytime? I'm just asking this question because as we're having the show at night for once. I know that for me, I always seem to be more creative at night. I don't know if it's just because the brain is tired at that point and you feel like, you know, you're more likely to go onto autopilot, at least with like subconsciously. You're not thinking as much as you are maybe during the day, and it's more a feeling thing. But I definitely feel for me that evenings are way more creative overall. So I'm just wondering what you guys think, if that is the case with you or not. Let me see if I can catch up on some of the comments. There's a lot of stuff going past me here, and I've missed a couple of quite a few comments here. Um, all right, so Squire question, Tonewood, we talked about that. Um, Somebody's asking, will this be enough to kill Guitar Center? I don't know if it'll be enough to kill Guitar Center, but I can tell you one thing. The economy is not going to be the same after this, that's for sure. There's going to be a huge amount of debt all around, and I don't know if the government's just going to have to like wipe out the debt for everyone to create a level playing field. But I know a lot of companies that were teetering on the edge of not doing so well. This might be the final nail in the coffin for them. You know, on a personal level, I can talk out of my own experience too. That it's a very sketchy time right now. We don't know what's going to happen till the dust settles, and at the end of the day, not everyone will be standing. I can guarantee you that. This is from a business perspective now. Vox Guitars Rock says one more reason not to buy authentic. You know what, man? I don't know. It's just a feeling I get. I keep on feeling that we're being bullied and taken advantage of. And it's at a certain point, I'm going to be thinking more than twice whether or not I want to keep on throwing money in Gibson's direction. And James says nothing new for Gibson, just another company that puts profits before people. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of companies do that. You know, not just Gibson, but you know, you would think that right now, especially now, I mean, circumstances like this are no joke, and they wouldn't be doing themselves any kind of favor if their employees started to get sick, because then they're really up shit's creek. You know, I guess they're just trying to crank out as many guitars as they can while they can. Philip's in the house. He says he can't stick around too long. No work tomorrow. So why can't you stick around if you're not working, Philip? Come on. So Philip's asking me, Philip Robinson's asking me, what's your opinion on shopping for the best Tokai or Greco Les Paul around the $1,000 range? Is it possible to get a great one? Yeah, it's definitely possible to get a great one. The thing is, I don't know if the uh, the prices are going to be what you're looking for, because they seem to be going up every time I look at any kind of tokai that are made in Japan. You definitely want to get a Japanese one and not a Korean one. Um, they're always more than $1,000. I rarely come across them at cheaper prices than that, especially nowadays when you consider, where you're, depending on where you're buying them. If you're buying them from the States, I don't know if you're from Canada or from the States, but if you're in the States, maybe you can get better pricing. But here in Canada, they rarely come up used. You can keep your eyes on open for them on the used market, and if they do show up, just grab them. That's what I did. I got lucky with two Japanese models. But if you're looking at them online and you're trying to get them on like eBay or something like that, or Reverb, yeah, people know what other people are willing to pay for them now. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get them for that price. You can try. Just keep your eyes open. The trick is to get one in good condition that hasn't been modded, or changed too much. So Mickey's asking me, am I familiar with the old Marshall valve states? And if so, what do you think of them compared to the tube Marshalls? I recently bought the VS265, but a lot of people say they are no good. Mick, the only thing I can say is it depends what you're used to playing through. I mean, you're saying they're no good compared to what? If it sounds good to you, man, it's good. But for me, I remember the Valve State amps. They don't really, to me, sound like a tube Marshall. It sounds like a transistor Marshall to me. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's no good. It all depends what you're looking for in terms of sound. If you're looking for something just to play around the house, nothing too serious, they're fine. You can do that with them. If you're looking for something more professional, I would say, you can definitely find something a little bit better. Depends what your budget is. If you have a budget or if you're looking to upgrade or not. I mean, tell me a little bit more about your situation and I can give you a little bit more advice there. Bruce says night is much better. Where are you from, Bruce? Are you somewhere else in the world, in Europe maybe? Where are you from? What do I think about Elixir polywebs? Um, my opinion on these coated guitar strings is that they do have a definite place if you require coated strings because maybe your hands are more sweaty, your fingers are more sweaty. Some people have a lot of acidity in their sweat and they go through strings very, very quickly. They tarnish the strings very, very quickly and they become dull. If you're playing them a lot, for example, you might want to go with the polywebs. I'm not a huge fan just because I always feel that when they dull, they actually sound worse. They're great when they're new and they do last a little longer. But when they finally do dull, I find that they start sounding a little bit too much like rubber bands. And I don't have a problem with excessive sweating in my hands or anything like that. So I don't really feel there's a need for me to go with the coated strings. They're also a lot more expensive. And for me, I can probably buy like 3 packs of strings for the same price as the coated version. So I don't know. I have a lot of guitars, and if I would start using coated strings on all my guitars, it would cost me a fortune. So unfortunately, I don't really use them. But I know a lot of people like them. A lot of people use them, and there's definitely a place for them. Fat Philosopher says, I played Tokai yesterday. It was alright, a bit heavy. Which version of the Tokai did you play, and where did you play it? Is this something that you purchased, or a friend's guitar, or was it something you saw in a store somewhere? Fat Philosopher says he's wondering if it's a good time to put some low ball offers on Reverb. If you ask me, it's always time to put lowball offers on reverbs because reverb always has excessively high pricing, in my opinion. I never really saw a great deal on reverb. Once you factor in, the commission and everything else, I don't know. The deals on reverb they don't excite me at all. The only time I would consider getting something on reverb is if I really wanted something specific and I couldn't find it anywhere else, maybe something rare or collectible that doesn't pop up too often and it's there, then I would try and grab it off reverb. But I've never really come across a great deal. If you're looking for deals, there's better places to look. Um, So we're getting mixed messages here. Some people are saying evenings are better. Some people are saying mornings are better. Little Hooker Jam says in the morning my head is clear. Okay, and Temple says yes in the evenings. Bruce says wee hours of the night. Um, Fat Philosopher says Kiesel is suing Harley Benton over their headless reaction. Interesting. I think this is. I think Gibson is starting a snowball effect. I think everybody's going to start suing everybody now. I think they feel that if they're at risk at being sued for whatever reason, they might as well be the first one to jump in and start suing. I don't know. It's crazy. It's getting to the point where it's ridiculous, in my opinion. People are just too sensitive these days. I don't know. Um, Anyways, let them decide that in a court of law, and whoever has the best, most expensive lawyer will win, I guess. Philip says we'll trade 2 rolls of premium toilet paper for that Strat. Okay, well, it's not yet. I'm not at that stage yet, but ask me again in a couple of weeks. You never know. Yeah, we got a joke, man. We got a joke. I want to talk about a few other things that I had on my list. So let's I don't know if you guys caught my video of the Harley Bentons. I posted a video, uh, and if you haven't already seen it, maybe you want to take a look at it eventually. It's the Harley Benton Fusion 2 against the versus the Harley Benton T style guitar, because I ended up reviewing both in an unboxing video, and a lot of people were saying, you don't really play the guitars, or they wanted sound samples, which I understand. But it was an unboxing video, and I wasn't intending to play it during the unboxing video. So I ended up making a side-by-side comparison. I thought that would be more helpful for everyone, so they can tell the difference between the Harley Benton Fusion 2 and the T-style guitar, considering they're both guitars have humbuckers, both guitars have coil splitting, and they have very similar appointments. The bridges are the same, stainless steel frets, locking tuners. The neck is basically identical. So the only real difference is the body shape and the material used for the body. One's mahogany, the other one's sapele. And and I was surprised too when I made the video and I was actually playing them side by side. The Telecaster one, even though I call it a Telecaster, it's not really a Telecaster because it has humbuckers in it. It definitely sounded brighter, a lot brighter and a lot tighter than the Strat style guitar. So it's interesting because the pickups were identical, and most of the body, the construction and the parts were very, very similar. So if any of you are considering any one of those two guitars, you can probably have a better idea now, side by side. The reason I didn't mind buying two guitars that have the identical pickups in them is because I usually swap the pickups anyways. So I'm pretty sure I'll eventually swap out the pickups in those guitars for something else. So they will sound even more different than they do now. But I just wanted to throw that out there in case any of you are considering those ones. And somebody was asking me about the gold top Harley Benton as well, and I'm really digging that one most actually out of all of them, and I'm actually surprised because I really like the Fusion 2. I really like the Telecaster, but the Harley Benton Gold Top with the P90s that I also did a review of. If you haven't already seen that one, it's really a lot of fun to play. I think the P90s are really like I'm really digging them now. I like Telecasters, and I always say that the P90 pickups are kind of like having fat Telecaster pickups in your guitar because they're basically single coils, but they really break up nice, and I'm really digging them. After adjusting that guitar, I did I'd say a couple hours work on it. I leveled the frets, I polished the frets, I made sure that there was no scratchiness and no uneven frets on that guitar, and I just adjusted it, and it plays really nicely. And it wasn't perfect when I received it, but it's okay. I'm eventually gonna probably try to swap out those pickups as well. But before I do, I have a Mad Hatter Terminator system coming that I want to actually do a video for. And if you haven't already checked out the Terminator system, check it out. Go to Mad Hatter. I think it's Mad Hatter guitarproducts.com. They're basically solderless systems, so you can actually replace all of the pots, the switches, the wiring in your guitar for this solderless connectors, I guess you want to call them that, and they would allow you to get a cleaner sound. Apparently the difference in sound is astonishing according to the information on their website, but you know, I'm gonna see for myself when I get it. So the idea would be to take that system, put it into the Harley Benton guitar, because the switch on that guitar and the pots on them are very cheap. So I'm gonna switch over the electronics without changing the pickups first to see if it really makes a difference or not. And then if I feel like I still want to go a step above that, I'm probably going to end up swapping out the pickups for something else that I have coming my way as well. Another set of P90s that are custom wound. I mentioned it in the last video that we did live. So it should be interesting. I've had a lot of good success with these solderless systems because they allow me to swap out pickups a lot quicker, and it doesn't damage the connectors, it doesn't damage the switch when you solder over and over again. Eventually the pots can't take all that heat, and so they end up being damaged and you have to switch them out. So if you intend to try a lot of pickups in your guitars, the solderless system is the way to go. Just going back through some of the messages here. Bruce Brooks is in New York. How are things in New York, Bruce? Are things getting crazy over there too? I hope not, man. I hope things are going to be better there too. Temple says, I'm using a Line 6 150 watt Spider 4 with Randall cabinet. Great sound. So you're going with the multi-effects units and you're pumping it through a Randall cabinet. That's pretty cool. If you're using a Line 6, the Line 6 Spider, I guess, is that powerful enough to get a good sound out of a Randall cabinet? Like, I'm assuming the cabinet's either 212 or something like that. Just wondering. Mickey Johnson says, I worked for Gibson and was caught up in one of their numerous layoffs. They are really a young company. Heritage are the grown-ups. I did not enjoy working for Gibson. They were too proud for me. Interesting. Was this a long time ago, Mickey? When was this? Was this with the old management or the new management? Whenever management changes in a company, a lot of things change, and sometimes not for the better. Paul says, I find writing to be random, but I find evenings often more productive. I write fairly complex music. I mostly use the Dorian modes. It allows enough freedom without alienating an average listener. That's pretty cool. Evening then. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm an evening person as well. Fat Philosopher says, I was at a guitar pawn shop. The Tokai was Korean made, going for about 300 Canadian. Yeah, the Korean ones are like $500 new. And they're definitely not the same quality as the Japanese ones. So, I don't know, man. There's good ones and there's bad ones. I would say the Korean Tokais are probably the same type of quality that you would get with an Epiphone. Nothing more. I would hold out for a Japanese one if you can get one. There's big differences in the way they're made. The Korean ones, I think, have laminated tops. The Japanese ones are actually like, full maple caps. The way they're put together is not the same at all. Paul's asking me what my thoughts are on Godin guitars. I'm trying to find a used one with a piezo pickup like a flat 5X or older model, Montreal model. Um, you know, I, I recently saw that Godin is releasing or just released a new model. It's called the, see if I can find that here. It's called the Radium. That's the name of the model, and it's kind of like a cross between. It's almost like they don't even know what they're working on anymore. It's got the headstock looks like a 3-3 configuration, kind of like a Gibson headstock. The body is kind of a mix between a Telecaster and a Music Man. The bridge is like a Les Paul type bridge, and the pickups in this one is they actually have HSH configuration with the controls looking like they came from a Telecaster. So it's really like a mishmash of different things, and it's a like kind of raw wood. It retails, I think, for about $800. That's American, so I don't know what it would retail for in Canada. But you know what? I don't know, man. It's like, Godin guitars are well made. I have nothing against the quality and the workmanship. I think they're good quality and good workmanship. It's just the styling. I don't know. There's nothing really wow about their guitars. They're always kind of like middle of the road. I wish they would just hire somebody that can design better looking guitars. Because, I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to put you down or anything like that. If you're really into a Godin, I'm sure they have some really good sounding models as far as the sound goes. But in terms of looks, yeah, they're not. They don't really excite me much. Sasha says, "Where are those better places to look for deals?" I've had a lot of luck on Facebook Marketplace. I've had a lot of luck on Craigslist, Kijiji, even eBay sometimes. Although eBay is not as great for deals if you're in Canada, but sometimes you can find some local deals like other parts of Canada that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for in terms of shipping and duties. I've come across some pretty good deals. You have to always be careful when you're buying online, and you especially eBay, because you can't always tell what you're getting. But there are definitely deals out there, and don't overlook the B stock stuff. There's a lot of B stock material in some shops that also sell them online, and a lot of times like the defect is so slight that you won't even see it, and you can definitely get a better deal. And they're always, in my opinion, they're always willing to offer discounts, further discounts, if you talk to them first. So that's a couple of places you can get some deals for sure. Yeah, and Philip says shopping local helps your neighbors. So yeah, definitely. If you can do that, why not? And Fat Philosopher says Yahoo Auctions. I guess that's another area you can take a look at as well. Take care, Fat Philosopher. I guess you're working tonight. Joe Rockhead's asking me where you're located in Canada. And yeah, I'm in Canada. Bruce says, I lowballed a 50th anniversary American Standard Telecaster on Reverb end of October and got an instant yes. Rare color Crimson Sunburst with hard shell case, 650. Not bad. That's pretty good, man. The prices are going up. They're going up for all kinds of guitars. I couldn't believe it today. I was actually reading another article on the brand new Charvel guitars. I don't know if any of you out there are Charvel fans. I had a Charvel a little while ago and I sold it because I had a Floyd and I was going through a Floyd phase. I had a couple of guitars with Floyd roses on them and I ended up selling them because they were just too much of a hassle for me to maintain and to make sure the Floyd was working properly. So I ended up getting rid of it. But I like I like Charvel guitars a lot. I think they're well-made guitars and they're still relatively affordable. So when Charvel came out with their new line, which is called the USA Select, and they have the DK24 2PT models. I don't know if you saw this announcement. You may have seen it. They have some really nice looking guitars, and what I like most about these guitars is they don't have a Floyd. It's a regular good quality bridge on these guitars, and they have like SSH models, they have HSH models and HH models as well. So I liked what I was seeing, right? Because they look like they're good quality components. The bridge is a simple bridge, roasted necks, which I really like a lot, and locking tuners and all kinds of stuff, right? So I'm like, wow, so far it's checking all the boxes for me. And then I went to the Charvel site and I saw the price on these guitars. The prices are through the roof. I don't know what these guys are smoking. I don't know if it's the baking process when they're roasting these maple necks. Maybe the fumes are getting to them or something. But this guitar, I'm going to go to the Charvel site because I don't want to lie to you, okay? But I'm going to go to the Charvel site right now and I'm going to tell you what the price range on these guitars are. And you're going to like freak out. I couldn't believe it. Let's see if I can actually find it quick for you here. Where are they now? Go to guitars. Go to the new guitars. Where did they put them? Anyways, these guitars are over $3,000. $3,000. People, it's a Strat. It's a Strat body with a Strat type neck. There's nothing too special about it. The neck doesn't cost $1,000 to roast it. I think these guys are playing us for fools. I can't believe it. I think it's just because, a couple of, key builders, I don't want to name names, got away with creating some good guitars and started, charging premium dollars for them. And now the mass-produced guitars that are being made by these companies figure, well, you know what, if we put similar features, even though the guitar is mass-produced, we can charge the same amount of money. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Till now, the Charvel guitars were like $800. $800, $900, $1,000 max. You're trying to tell me now, all of a sudden, there's another $2,000 of parts, components, and work that goes into these guitars? Come on, guys. I can't believe it. I have to, I'm flabbergasted. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just jaded. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know what it is. But you know what? I think going back to this coronavirus and the fact that it's going to affect the economy, I think these guys are all going to get a rude awakening and they're going to have to readjust their prices substantially. If they think people are going to drop $3,000 on a Strat like that, I think they're wrong. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? I want some feedback here. I mean, it's just my opinion, but I mean, come on, it's a Strat. Fender's doing the same thing. I mean, you know, yeah, they have the master builds and they have the custom shops and everything else. But I mean, if you look, you saw the Fender Tour. Come on, what's the difference? Once you slap a body on there, you slap a neck on there. Yeah, you have to tweak it a little bit more. So they're putting a couple of extra minutes on the guitars, probably. You know, they're selecting the woods a little bit carefully. But it's like, it's ridiculous. It's just nuts. Okay, let me go back to some questions here. So Joe Rockheads from Ontario. Joe, man, spread the word in Ontario. You guys are not listening. The outbreak there is going up and up and up. Talk to your friends. Tell them to stay home. Play guitar, guys. Stay home. Play guitar. It's easy. Steve says, I liked the video of the Harley Bentons. I like the T-Style better. The T-Style is cool. It's just like the top is so shiny and so black that any little scratch is going to show up. Any kind of fingerprint is going to show up. Maybe I shouldn't have got the black one. So someone's asking me to compare the Harley Bentons to the Charvel Pro mods. Not the same. The feeling is totally different. How can I describe this to you? They both are good. Like, I wouldn't hesitate taking either one if somebody would offer me them side by side. I think the Charvels feel more like a Strat. The Harley Bentons feel more like a Jackson, or when I say Jackson, I mean the body shape, more like a Jackson or a Sir Standard Pro, because of just the shape of the body itself. The neck on the Charvel, from what I could remember, was a little bit narrower front to back, so it had a little bit of a faster neck. The Harley Bentons are not as flat in terms of the front to back spacing on them. They're not as flat, so they're a little bit fuller in your hands, but they're not fat or anything like that. So they're very, very similar to a Strat. And besides the fact that the Charvel had a Floyd, which I'm not a huge fan of, I would probably prefer a Charvel with no Floyd. It would be maybe a closer comparison if I had to compare the two. Joe says, didn't you have a Wolfgang? Your thoughts still the same on that one? I'm thinking about picking one up. Yeah, you know what? The Wolfgang was a spur of the moment thing. I went to Vegas, and I happened to go into a shop, and I finally played a Wolfgang. I wasn't really keen on the body shape originally for the Wolfgangs. But I finally said, what the hell, I want to try one. So I picked it up. It was a Stealth, and it really felt great in my hands. I really liked it a lot. But the thing with the Wolfgang guitar was that the neck on those guitars were very comfortable, but for me the problem was the spacing up here was very tight. It was hard. It's hard to describe, but the string spacing up at the nut end of the guitar was very narrow, and I ended up selling that guitar after a while because of it. It sounded good though. It did have a Floyd on it, which I'm not that crazy about. So between the Floyd and the nut spacing of the neck, I ended up selling it. But the thing is, I had the same situation happen to me with an Ernie Ball guitar that I had. Fantastic neck, felt great, but the spacing up here was just too narrow and I couldn't get used to it. And it also had a Floyd. So maybe it's the Floyd thing. I'm not sure, but it definitely didn't feel as comfortable at the upper end of the neck. But the rest of it was fantastic. So I couldn't justify keeping it if I wasn't playing it. So I ended up selling it. So Temple says his cabinet was 212s and it sounds great and can handle the volume. So, you know, if the Spider works well for you, man, that's great. You can definitely get some good sounds out of them with some tweaking, especially if you're just playing at home. Philip says, serious question, should I pay rent, buy food, or get a hooker? Can't afford all three this month. Why can't you just get a hooker that has an apartment and then eat something else? But I need a drummer. I need a drummer. Mickey says it was old management when this was happening. So I guess old management, old problems, new management, new problems. What can you do, man? You know, it's corporate environments are weird sometimes. I've been in my share of weird corporate environments as well. So you gotta kind of just go with the flow. Bruce Brooks says New York is starting to get really nuts. Live 3 miles from New York City, but we stocked up on toilet paper and paper towels 2 weeks ago. Have at least 2 months supply. Bruce, the paper's not the issue. The virus doesn't give you the shits, man. You know, you're okay. You don't need paper. You don't need food. Don't worry about the hand sanitizer. Just wash your hands with soap. Stay away from other people. That's the main thing. Just stay away from other people. I can't believe we're talking about this now. I mean, I've been watching The Walking Dead, and it's kind of like a weird parallel, you know? It's strange. Strange times. Bruce says, somewhat new to the channel. Where are you broadcasting from? I'm from Canada. Your neighbor to the north, Bruce. BK says, Gretsch Jet Club for $2.99. What do you think? I'm not familiar with it. Let me look it up. Let me take a look at what it looks like. $2.99 seems like a good price for anything these days. But I'm wondering why. Where are these made? So let's have a look at what it looks like here. I'm looking at it right now. How much? It's $3.99 here in. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks a lot like. It reminds me a lot of the of a Godin. Actually, I think Godin has a model similar to that one as well. Interesting look. I'm not a huge Gretsch fan. I like the semi-hollow body Gretsch guitars. I played some of those. They really played and sounded great. But I'm not familiar with this one. It seems to be getting good reviews though. Who knows if they're real nowadays? The reviews, most of these reviews are fake anyways, especially on Amazon. Don't believe anything those reviews tell you. Well, if you buy it from a shop that has a good exchange policy, there's no big risk at that price. $2.99 is pretty decent. I guess these are made in China now, right? Bruce says, I used to get great deals in pawn shops till internet came around and killed that. This is talking over 30 years ago. Yeah, pawn shops are not the same anymore, man. Pawn shops nowadays, they want premium dollar for everything. They think they can sell them for practically new. And most of the stuff's stolen in those things anyways, you know. So I don't know. I tried hard to buy a few used on Kijiji. Most ads were bullshit. Yeah. You gotta deal local. You got to deal local. You got to check out the stuff. You got to go over and take a look at them. You can't assume that you're going to get something. There's a lot of people trying their best to, to get top dollar for something that's not even worth what they're asking. Uh, Sean Stevens says, I just saw you was on. What is the action on tour guitar and how do you set your neck? Okay, I think he means what is the action on your guitar and how do you set your neck? My action on this guitar is standard Strat action. It's not that low. I would say normally what I do when I set my action is I usually use a feeler gauge, and when you hold down the first fret here and the last fret, I usually feel around the seventh fret underneath the string, and I would say there's maybe like a 16th, maybe a little bit more than a 16th of an inch between the bottom of the string, the fat E string, and the top of my fret. I like my string action not too low because I pick kind of hard, heavy, so you get buzzing if you put it too low. But I don't like it too high where the strings are like I feel like I'm jumping over hurdles with my fingers, I do all the setup myself. I don't rely on a tech because most of the time they don't know what I like, and I'm very comfortable setting up my own guitars. A lot of you have asked me how I do it and what I do. I have put some videos of some work that I do myself. I'm pretty comfortable sharing that with you guys. If you guys want to know more, definitely will be able to make some videos of you guys of that. Except it's kind of like boring, So I think basically, if you're gonna be interested in seeing how the setup is done, you have to go step by step. I do have a couple of videos that I've posted in the past that I have definitely explained the setup process in more detail. They're older videos, but at the same time they go into more detail. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I can definitely oblige. Mickey's got to go. He says he's going to listen to the rest of the show later. I'm glad I can pull you up later and hear what you have to say. Thanks for your service. No problem, man. I appreciate it. This is why I do it. I do it for you guys. I definitely want to provide good content to everyone, and whatever information I can share with you guys, I'm more than happy to do that with you. So glad you could tune in. Hopefully you'll tune in again. Sasha says, I'm looking for a tape delay pedal similar to the Strymon El Capistan, possibly at a lower cost. Then yeah, for sure, we're all looking for that. That's a great sounding delay pedal, if you can get it, if you get your hands on it. Less expensive, I don't know, man. I like the TC Electronics stuff. I don't know if it's as good as the Capistan, but if you end up getting version 2 of their delay pedal that just came out, the flashback, it's cool because it does have the ability to use the tone print features, which in my opinion are quite good. The advantage with that particular unit is that it's not as expensive. It is flexible because you can actually do a lot more with it, but maybe the sound of the delays are not as lush. So if you're really looking for that lush type of delay, hold out and see if you can find yourself a used Strymon. Otherwise, you might want to check out some of the other less expensive units out there, like the TC Electronics one. Unless somebody else has some suggestions, maybe somebody else has heard of a good delay pedal that's similar to that one there. I'd be interested in finding one like that too. So Lord JP says he's a big Charvel fan here. I already own two, but I'm eyeing off the new DK22 as well. Yeah, I like those. I like those models as well. I just wish that a lot of these companies like Charvel and Jackson wouldn't go over the top with, you know, the flashy colors and crazy inlays and whatever. I think people are more into subdued, less flashy guitars these days. Maybe it's just me. Sean Stevens says, love Charvel, what I learned back in the 80s. Yeah, they're still great guitars, man. I still think they're pretty good. And Temple Bratowski says, love the Kramer 1980s Striker 300, great guitar. Yeah, the Striker is good. I also like the Kramer. I have a Kramer Special that I picked up. Great guitar, man. Honestly, it's the neck feels great. I put a nice humbucker in there, adjusted it properly. The only weak point of that guitar is that there's no Floyd in it, but that's the reason why I bought it. I'm not a big Floyd fan, as I mentioned earlier on. So for me, having a regular floating bridge in those guitar, that guitar was actually a plus. And you can eventually swap out the bridge for something better if you want to have something a little bit better quality. No locking nut on that thing, so it's more like a Strat, you know. But it's still great. You could even modify. You can buy those guitars. You can get them used for not too much money and modify them yourself. If you're interested in putting a Floyd in there, you can easily do that as well. Lord JP says he was a little bit taken back by the new DK line as well. It's only 2K here in Australia though. It's still 2K, man. Hey, if you got the cash, God bless you. Grab it. Joe also says, insane, overpriced. I agree. Joe says, just like the Washburn Nunos. Great guitar, but 2,500 to 5 grand. It's nuts, man. I'm telling you. It's insanity. Look, they're basically they're seeing an opportunity. Some people really are going to spend that kind of money. They're running all the way to the bank with it. But I don't think that could keep up. I mean, seriously, what are the prices going to go to? They're going to go to like $7,000-8,000 for a guitar. I don't think so, man. There's enough great used guitars floating out there that you can't justify buying new at those prices anymore. I'll wait. I can get the Charvel. The Charvels are not going to stay at that price forever. You can get it used. Save yourself a lot of money. Paul says, I noticed that the cheaper Charvels have gone $400 USD in 2 years. 400, really? Wow, that's pretty good. If you can get them for $400, grab them, because they're good. They're good guitars. Just change the pickups if you don't like them. Put whatever you want in them, and you're good to go, man. If I can find one for 400, I'd grab it. Phil Cochran says, like girls, better to make a 5 into an 8 than by an 8 that thinks she's a 10. True. It's good advice. Fat Philosopher says, can't find my boss, so I'm back online. Good for you, man. Good for you. Lay low for another little bit. Just curious, what kind of work do you do, if you don't mind sharing that with us? As long as your boss is not online, not watching the stream, then you're okay. Bruce says, the main difference I see in the 3K guitars is mainly the fretwork and possibly the pickups. Nothing a couple of $100 and a good luthier can fix. Exactly, man. You understood me. The difference between a good guitar and a really good guitar is the neck. Okay, it's all up here. It's all up here. This part could be whatever you want it to be. I mean, as long as it feels good and doesn't weigh a ton, it's fine. This part here makes all of the difference. If you have a good guitar with a good neck, you're gonna love playing it. If you have a good guitar with a shitty neck, you're never gonna like playing it. It's as simple as that. If if Sir would sell just the necks, they'd be able to sell those necks for premium dollar. Why? Because they're great. They just feel great. Fretwork is great, profile is great, solid. They don't warp. You know, they're great. And I wish I can get a quality neck like that. I'd be putting them on all my Strats because they'd be fantastic guitars. I wouldn't even want to look at another boutique style guitar because it would just feel great. That's the main reason those guitars are selling for that price. Temple says, yeah, Kramers are great. I had a yellow one at one time. Paul says, I play 8 different guitars, 3 different scales. 2 guitars have fast, thin metal necks, though both are different. One guitar has a neck so thick it's nicknamed the log. But that's the cool thing about having different guitars. You can actually enjoy them for what they are, right? Like, what's the point of having a guitar that is identical to another guitar that you have? You want them to be different. That's the whole point. The cool thing is that you guys might want to tune in to a video that I'm going to be putting out tomorrow. As I mentioned at the top of the segment, the reason I have all my Strats, I got one in the corner, a bunch over here, and another one in the corner on this side, and I basically took out all my Strats and I made a video because I have a few Strats. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. A lot of people have said to me over the years, why do you keep buying Strats? They're all the same, right? And to a certain degree, they are the same. But I like to say they're not the same, they're similar. They're all slightly different, and I love them all differently, like my kids, for different reasons, right? So somebody was saying to me, like, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference if you played them side by side. You wouldn't be able to tell me which one it was. And I said, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, and I'm gonna make a video and put it online. And so I did it. I basically made a video where I played. There's 7 different types of Strats, and I played them all blindfolded. And my son was helping me with the video, and I tried to identify them without looking, just playing. I wasn't allowed to touch the headstock. I wasn't allowed to touch the tuners or like the knobs and stuff. Just basically play the guitar, touch the the strings on the fretboard and whatever. I also wasn't even allowed to touch the switch. The switches were all put into the bridge position, and that's it. And I had to see if I could identify the 7 different Strats. And I'm gonna tell you one thing: it's not as easy as you think, man. I thought it would be easier than it was. It wasn't. It wasn't easy at all. It's amazing. So I highly recommend you guys trying that if you have similar guitars, and see if you can actually pick them out without looking at them. And it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a fun video for you guys. If you're interested, check that out tomorrow. It's gonna be probably in the afternoon at some point. I'll probably put that out there. I've been meaning to do something like that for a long time. And you know what? If you guys like that video, I'm going to probably do the same thing with Telecasters, because I do have a couple of Telecasters as well. And I'm curious to see, and I do this for myself as well, because I'm curious to see whether or not the Telecasters are going to be as easy to tell apart as the Strats are or are not. Fat Philosophers thinking of picking up a Steinberger. Anyone play one of those? The one I tried sounded better than I expected. I had a friend of mine had one of those, the original ones, way back. I was in high school at the time. They were cool guitars. I liked playing it. It was just a little odd not having the headstock, It always threw me off. You know, the headstock seems kind of useless, but it actually is a kind of a visual thing. And when you cut off the neck there, it seems like, I don't know, you should have a little bit more room, like a little bit more length for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like a ghost headstock kind of thing. William, he's in the house. Hey, William, nice to see you, man. Congrats, Tony. Finally got time to hear you live. Love to hear info on gear and guitars. Yeah, man. I appreciate you being online. I usually am online Sunday mornings, but maybe you're sleeping in on Sunday mornings. I don't know. Glad to see you, anyways. Um, Joe says, "What Strat replacement necks have you tried? Anything affordable like Mighty Might?" Yeah, I've tried Mighty Might guitars. I've tried all parts as well. There's more expensive ones. There's Wormuth makes pretty good necks as well. Um, there is a couple of people on eBay that also make some good quality necks. The thing is, you want to be careful where you're buying your necks from, because some people that are making them low runs, what ends up happening is sometimes they don't have the ability. This is when they're not big companies. Um, they don't have the ability to dry the woods properly, and what ends up happening is that the necks actually warp over time. So you definitely want to stay away from that. But if you can find yourself a good company, the ones from All Parts are good. I haven't had issues. Mighty Might are good too. They're not the best, but they're good. The best would be to get a Fender neck if you can find one, but those are going to be expensive. Yeah, you can avoid the Chinese stuff that you can find on eBay. So a lot of sellers claiming, they're showing these Strat necks and stuff. They're no good. You have to do a ton of work on them, level the frets and everything else, and trust me, just stay away from those. They might look like a neck, but they're not really necks. Fat Philosopher says, "Sure, a new guitar setup video out of the box and into your hands." Yeah, man, I'm willing to do that for you guys. If you guys are interested, like I said, it's pretty boring and it's long. Like the process is long. So I would have to, like, if I have to do it step by step, you're looking at between eight, like getting it out of the box and setting it up, you're looking at a couple of hours. I definitely take my time, and I don't do it all in one shot because I like the neck. If I adjust the neck, if I like it to settle. I like to put the string under tension, and I like to do the intonation after a little while. I don't do it all in one shot. I tweak over a couple of days actually until I get it just right. It's like when you're tuning new strings. You tune them up and then they go slack again. You tune them up and they go slack again. It's the same when you're adjusting the guitar neck and doing other kinds of adjustments. It takes a little while for the guitar to kind of settle, and that's how I like to do it. I'm usually not in a rush. They're my own guitars, so I don't need to get them out the door or anything. Uh, Fat Philosopher says he tried to order a Dean through my guitar store. It's been 8 days and Dean still hasn't got back to us. I think they will lose my business going forward. Yeah, I don't mean to be alarming, but look, the situation is like all the places are closed right now. There's nobody really working. If they are, it's a skeleton crew, and I'm sure that there's blocks in the supply chain, in the ordering chain, even the store that you order it from, probably. So you know what? It's not a good time to order right now. It's just the way it is. You have to either be patient or just cancel your order and order one later on when things get back to normal. Bruce says my buddy has a Charvel Guthrie Govin. I've and I have to say it's really nice. Yeah, that's a great guitar. I'm not crazy about the finish on the body because it's like kind of raw finished. I would prefer to have like a paint or something on there, but I really like the neck. And again, the neck is what sells those guitars. I'm telling you. But that's an expensive model. especially that one. You got a lucky friend. Temple says not much on the Floyds. Just don't like them. Get some great hip shot locking tuners. Yeah, but you know what? Locking tuners are not really what keeps the guitar in tune. Like a lot of people think locking tuners are gonna make the guitar not go out of tune as easy. That's not really true. All the locking tuners do is like avoid having you to put wraps around the posts, which personally I don't mind doing. As far as keeping the tuning on the guitars better, it really is a question of it could be because maybe they're better quality tuners, but really it's the nut. The nut is really what keeps things in tune. But I agree with the Floyds. They're just too much hassle. Lord JP says, I bought a 2003 Gibson Les Paul Voodoo recently. Swamp ash body, maple neck. It's a great guitar, and I got it for a great price. Les Paul Voodoo? Let me take a look at that. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Name sounds cool. Where did you pick it up? Was that on, did you buy it new? Or did you get it on like a Reverb or something like that, or Kijiji? Okay, Les Paul Voodoo. Let's take a look at what it looks like here. That's pretty nice. So it has the dark body. And I guess it has no binding on it. There's no binding on the neck from what I can see here. So how much do these guitars cost? I'm just curious. Max says, have you removed the neck on your Strat to adjust the truss rod? Yep. I try to avoid doing that because it's a real pain. This guitar, like I have a couple of Strats. I have this one, which as you can see doesn't have a truss rod adjustment here. It's here. I have a 50s and I have a 50 Strat and I have two 60 Strat. They all have the same situation where the truss rod adjustments here. It's a real pain. Thankfully, my necks don't move that much that I need to play around with them as often. But if I have to do it, I'll do it. It's just a question of like, it's a pain because you have to take off the neck. You risk stripping the holes, you know, in the neck when you're putting them in all over and over again. Some people claim that you can just loosen the screws, take off two of the lower ones and then tilt the neck, but I don't like doing that. I think it's better just to take them off when you're doing that. I really like the truss rod adjustment that are in the heel, like the Harley Bentons with the wheel. Those are the best because it's very hard to strip them. You don't have to worry about like, you know, getting into a hole with a little Allen key. You can see clearly what you're doing. You don't even need Allen keys. All you need is a little like rod. They're the best. That's what I really like. And I think like the Charvel I had that as well. A lot of guitars that have Floyds and locking nuts have that system because it's a lot more convenient. The locking nut gets in the way sometimes. We're going to be wrapping up soon, guys. It's almost 11:30. We've been going for over an hour and close to an hour and a half. So I'm going to just get through a few more questions here. Let's move on down here. Andre says, Tony, small practice amp. What are your thoughts? A Yamaha THR or a positive grid amp? Actually, Andre, I'm actually glad you asked that question. It just reminded me of something I wanted to talk about. The Yamaha had put a recall on some of those THR amps that are apparently catching fire because something that they did wrong in the assembly or I don't know what. So if you look online, you'd probably get some more information on those. I don't know if they're just the older ones or the newer ones or what, but yeah, you want to be careful with those. I wouldn't spend money on a positive grid amp just because I feel that they're limited in terms of lifespan. It's like they're people are jumping on this stuff, this technology, but it changes so fast. I prefer to go with an amp. Just get an amp. Honestly, if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you don't want to mess around with tubes, PV Bandit, Red Stripe, you get them all day long used. You can probably get them for like a 180 bucks, maybe 150 bucks if you get lucky. They're great amplifiers. They sound good. You don't have to mess with tubes. They're loud enough to play in a gig. They're quiet enough to play at home. If you don't have a crazy budget, those are great amplifiers. I wouldn't hesitate to get one of those. If you have a more expensive budget, you have a higher budget, then I can give you some suggestions for those as well. But it sounds to me like you're not looking for anything too crazy. Hamed, hello. Hello back. Bruce says, how long are we live? I want to know if I should go to the bathroom or what. I'm going to be on another couple of minutes, man. So if you're going to go, go quick. Sorry for keeping you holding it in all this time. I didn't get to your question until now. Yeah, James says, Andre, I've been waiting since Thanksgiving for my Spark. You will probably not see one till fall if you order now. That's the other thing, right? I would say just get something used, man. If you're looking for something, there's a lot of used gear out there. Bandits are great. I used to have one. I sold it. I would have still had it. I would have still kept it. I don't know why I sold it. I think I just wanted to buy something else at the time. I needed some money. But it's like, yeah, definitely. What else, guys? We're going to wrap it up soon, so I don't know if you have any last minute questions. And don't be afraid. I don't have a cough or anything. I just have something in my throat. It's from talking too much. Thoughts on the katana? The katana is another one you might want to look at, Andre. It's true. I forgot about that one. Katana is good too. It's a little bit more like fancy with all the modeling stuff. In my opinion, I kind of like the simplicity of the Bandit because it sounded good overall, and you don't have to mess with the modeling. But if you want to have some modeling options, the Katana is actually pretty good, and they're dirt cheap, man. You buy them used, you can get them for like peanuts. And don't forget, if you're not playing live and you want to get something that you can do a lot with, go for an Ampero. I've said it many times. I'm gonna say it again, guys. I have one right over here. The Amperos, these guys here from Hotone, they're about 500 bucks. These things are amazing, man. I couldn't believe it. I sold a head rush unit which cost I think 1,600 bucks. This one to me sounds better. Now, I'm not gonna say it could do more because it only has a few buttons available, as the head rush had a lot more to offer. But this thing is small, it's compact, it sounds good. Pair this up with an FR speaker and you're rocking, man. I love this thing. I've been playing around with it for so long that for so long. I haven't even made a video of this yet. I gotta do it. I gotta start making videos of this thing. I'm having so much fun playing it that I can't get myself to just make videos of it, But the thing that people don't understand about these Hotones, the Amperos, and oftentimes why they don't think they sound good, is because they're listening to it with crappy headphones, or they're trying to plug it into an amp, which to me, you're never going to get a good sound out of them. But if you get yourself an FR system, for those of you who don't know what an FR system is. Give me a couple of minutes. Indulge me for a couple of minutes. I gotta just explain you something because it's crazy. This here is an FR system. Okay, FR. If you guys don't know, this is from Headrush. It's 2,000 watts. This thing's tiny. It's got an 8-inch speaker in here. Okay, I bought it because I didn't feel like lugging around heavy stuff. This thing's maybe, I don't know, 30 pounds, something like that. Basically, it's a powered system. It's very similar to what you would see when you have like monitors and you're playing live. So it's powered. So FR stands for full range, flat response. You have 2 inputs in the back of it here. You have a balanced input. You have a ground lift. And you have a contour button, which gives you a little flat or scooped response. So you just plug this in, okay? You plug your Ampero into this thing, and it's crazy loud. This thing has way more bass than you will ever need. If you're thinking that you're not gonna get a big sound, you're totally wrong. The Ampero kicks ass through that thing, and you really need both, okay? But once you have that, you don't need anything else. You have so many amp combinations and effects and different types of pedals at your disposal and things that you can do with the Ampero that it really, you end up playing it a lot more than other gear just because it's so easy. And the reason I bought it was because I didn't want to lug around heavy stuff. So the Ampero fits in a small bag. I can easily grab that speaker and take it with me to gigs, and whatever sounds I put into the Ampero, I'm gonna get 100% that sound when I'm playing live. I don't have to mess around with anything once I get there. Just plug it in and go. It's amazing. I work out my sets ahead of time, work out the sounds ahead of time, and I'm good to go. So all that to say, if you're looking for something that is going to do a lot and is not going to be too expensive, you might want to try and take a look at that. That's another option to just an amp. What else? Any other questions before we wrap it up, guys? Cool Tunes Madzi says Gretsch Epiphone 335. Are you telling me those are what you like, or are you asking me which one is better? Bruce says monotone stage right 15 watts. Yeah, that's also a good alternative for a not too expensive amplifier that is tube and sounds good from what I can tell. And as a matter of fact, I think Harley Benton is also private labeling those now, and you could probably get them from Harley Benton as well. Although I've heard through the grapevine that Harley Benton is not shipping anything out now because the virus has hit Germany and they're in quarantine too. So again, you guys are probably gonna have to wait to get something new these days. What's your favorite patch cable between pedals? Sasha, are you fooling with me? Did you see my video? I think you saw my video. I made a video a couple of days back downsizing my pedal board. If you've seen that one, you might know what my favorite patch cable is. Usually between pedals, I use these things. Okay, these are like Hosa cables, standard cables, good quality, solid. You know, they're not gonna break on you. And you can actually repair them because the little sleeve opens up if you actually break the cable. But recently, and if you watch my video downsizing my pedal board, I switched to these guys, and these are made by Donner. Donner makes any inexpensive guitar gear. These are flat cables. You'll notice that the cable is thinner. You know, it's pretty thin this way. It's like a linguine. And the cool thing is, if you look at the difference between this and this, right? I don't know if you can see that. Maybe if I put it this way here. a lot less bulky. So if you put these side by side like this, these things are pretty big. You put these side by side like this, they take a lot less room. The thickness of two of these is basically the thickness of one of these guys, right? So these allow me to go a lot closer together on my pedal board, and have allowed me to actually shrink everything down and go to a smaller pedal board. And the funny thing is, I bought these recently, and I just today saw that Ernie Ball is making their version of this. Slightly more expensive. They're probably good in terms of quality, maybe better, I don't know. I've only used these for a little while. They haven't broken on me yet, but I'm pretty happy with them. I bought a set of 3 of these for $16. I think the Ernie Ball ones are $22 US. I paid like 16 bucks Canadian. You can get these on Amazon. I think I put a link in my video, I'm not sure, but you could definitely get these on Amazon. A great alternative, and I like them so far. They don't seem badly made at all. So that's what I've been using the last little while. So Cool Tunes Manzi wanted advice on a semi-hollow body. Look, I've tried the 335. I have 2. I have a Gibson and a knockoff. They're both good. I like them a lot. I tried the Gretsch. Sounds good too. I think you can't go wrong with either one of those, either model. It depends on what your playing style is. The 335 is nice if you get a good quality one. There's also if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you don't want to spend too much on a Gibson, you can get the Vintage brand. Vintage makes guitars. They have a nice 335 which is almost identical to a Gibson 335 at a lot less. I think under 700 bucks. If you can get them used, you can get them for maybe even like 300 or 400 bucks if you get lucky like I did. I bought it. I did the upgrade on the pickups, and I love it. So if you don't want to lug around an expensive Gibson and risk, damaging it, you can go less expensive. But they're both great guitars, Gibson or Gretsch. Can I recommend the atomic amplifier technology, the small one? Yeah, would be an affordable modeling solution with a great tone. Yes, I agree. I came very close to buying one of those. I was looking at one for a while, and I was about to pull the trigger. Then I stopped because I wanted a little bit more flexibility with the ability to put in IRs. I think you can do it with that one as well, but I wanted to be able to put in IRs. I wanted to have, looper and different things in there. And I know it can do a lot, and it sounds very good, but I just decided dollar for dollar, the Ampero does a lot too, and it did sound great. I was a little hesitant because I thought maybe the Ampero wouldn't sound good, but when I tried it, I was sold. So you have to know how to use it. There's a learning curve to it though. When you're going into a multi-effects unit, you have to there is a learning curve, so you have to be willing to put in the time. Fat Philosopher says, make a video of it. Which one a video of what? Of the Ampero? Is that what you're asking me? Temple says, thanks for talking. Enjoyed it. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you'll tune in next time, even if it's going to be Sunday morning. Hopefully you'll be able to tune in. Fat Philosopher says Gretsch, not Gibson. Yeah, without breaking the bank. I told you, without breaking the bank, go with either, again, the vintage. If you can get a good Tokai, you can get them for about at least almost $2,000 less expensive. If you get lucky, maybe $1,500 less expensive. Probably just as good in terms of the quality. You can look at other brands as well that have like similar, you know, look at Harley Benton, for example. If you only want to spend a couple $100, it won't look exactly like a 335, but you can get something similar in terms of features. But Gretsch is good too. Hump Grizzy says, "Can you get close to a Strat sound with the HS Telecaster?" No, you can't. It doesn't sound the same. It's not the same. Even though it has a split coil system, you're never going to get that bite out of the split coil system, unfortunately. So it's a compromise. But I didn't buy it because I wanted a Telecaster. I already have a few Telecasters. I wanted something that has the Telecaster body shape with a tremolo on it, because my Telecasters don't have that, with a humbucker, because I have the tendency to switch out humbuckers, and I wanted to experiment with that. So I wanted a hybrid, basically. That's why I ended up getting that. If you want a Telecaster, don't go with that. Go with a standard Telecaster setup. All right. What else do I have here? Okay, guys. It's 11:41. I'm gonna go another 10 minutes max, and then we call it a day. Okay. I need my beauty sleep. Look at me. I'm serious. Um, Tim says, "Cool. Plan on doing fretwork on a new so I cell phone. Darn, I hate autocorrect." I'm not following you, Tim. Can you please give me a clear sentence? I'll answer your question. Um, Brand is called Vintage. Yeah, exactly. Type in vintage guitar products. I think if you type in vintage guitars, it's gonna bring up like a whole bunch of vintage guitars. You're not gonna find it. Let me just do a quick search here. Guitar products, maybe. I always thought it was stupid that they did that, because they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because the name is confusing and people can't Google it properly. Vintage guitars, is that it? Hold on. I'll find it for you. Yeah. All right. So it's vintageguitarsus.com. All one word. Vintageguitarsus.com. And if you go in there, you'll see that they have, they're going to have a bunch of different types of instruments. If you go under electric acoustic, you'll see a whole bunch of different types there. And if you look far enough, you'll find the different models that they have. Just go under electric guitars, you'll see them. They have, they're called the semi-acoustic series. I'll show you a picture of it if, here we go. I don't know if you can see it there. Semi-acoustic series, this guy. You got that? VSA 500. Basically body maple with maple top. It's got a mahogany set neck, 12-inch radius, 22 frets, two-pneumatic bridge, Wilkinson Deluxe WJ44 tuning pegs, and Wilkinson Vintage Voice double coil pickups, and three-way toggle switch. So it's basically, you have all the features that you need. It's really a good guitar. They have different colors as well. They have the sunburst one, the honeyburst. They have the natural one. They have the one with the block inlays as well, which is sweet. If you ask me, that one in black. Just take a look. I think you're gonna like those. Can't go wrong with those. Have you ever experienced Hughes Kettner Tubemeister series? No, I was looking at that one at one point. I was considering it because it looks like it's a sweet amplifier. I looked at a couple of video reviews and I was on the fence about the sound quality. It seems like it's one of those amps that can do everything, but in actual fact, if you listen to the sound samples, you'll see that they're not all exactly convincing. It does some stuff better than others. And I didn't really need another. I didn't need another amplifier like that because I have some good quality amps here. Where can I get the prints on your wall? People ask me that all the time. I bought that online. I don't remember where. It was one of those things that popped up in like my Facebook feed, and I ended up buying it there. But I don't remember the name of the site. You can probably find them online. Just do a search for like wall art guitars. I'm sure it'll come up. Steve says, do you think the vintage guitars are similar to the Squire Classic vibes? I do. I think they're. I really like the Squire Classic vibes, and I think the vintage guitars are just as good, honestly. I haven't been disappointed by them at all. I would buy one. They don't come up too often used. I don't know why. I think people just keep them. But if I come across some used ones, I would definitely consider buying another one. Thanks, Guitars, Vox Guitars Rock. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, man. Freddie, Guitar Fanatic. Sorry I missed the live stream. First one that suited my time zone here in Oz. I love your channel. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Well, this is why I did this. I changed the time because I know some of you guys want to tune in and you're not able to do it. So, it's probably going to go back to Sunday morning, Freddie. Unfortunately, a lot of people seem to want to have it on Sunday morning as opposed to Sunday evening. So maybe I'll switch it up. I'll let you know. Bruce, you're cracking me up, man. Bruce says he still hasn't gone to the bathroom, and Twilight Zone goes on at midnight. Okay, I'll be gone by midnight. I promise. I want to watch Twilight Zone too. What channel is it on? Did you change the pickups on the vintage? I did. I did change the pickups because I normally do that anyway. I put in a set of GFG Guitar Fetish pickups in there, sort of like the vintage, what their equivalent of the classic 57s or 57 classics. Cool Tunes says, I have a Tube Meister 18. I feel the same way. Glad you said that. Thought I was losing it. So you agree with me then? You feel that it doesn't do everything great. Guitars that try and do everything is difficult. To get a great clean, a great overdrive crunch, it's hard. If you can get a guitar amplifier that can do all of that, everyone would be using it. So there's going to be compromises, right? So you have to. I always feel that it's better to get a clean amplifier that you can put pedals in front of it to get the crunch and the overdrive than to get a great sounding overdrive amplifier that doesn't sound good clean, because you can never get a good clean out of an amplifier that only does drive. So you have to make that sacrifice and either go with a clean amplifier that gives you the foundation that you need, and then you can put whatever pedals you want to put in front of it to get all kinds of drive. Otherwise, you're stuck. So Bruce says METV Cablevision channel 34. So I gotta tune in to 34. I'm a big fan of the Twilight Zone. Have you watched Black Mirror? If you like the Twilight Zone, you might want to watch Black Mirror. It's a little darker though, actually quite a bit darker, but it's pretty cool. Knowledge King says, I just ordered a PRS SE24 standard limited edition. Is that a decent beginner's guitar? It's a very good guitar, man. Congratulations. I love the SE line from Paul Reed Smith. Definitely you'll be happy with that guitar. They're really well built guitars, and I wouldn't hesitate to buy an SE model. I really I have one. I have a real one. When I say real, I mean a US model, and I have an SE. I've had a couple of SEs, and they're good, very good quality guitars. They should last you a long time. Correction, Bruce says channel 33. So whoever's tuning in to channel 34, you're gonna miss it. Channel 33 for Twilight Zone fans. Just giving you an update. I have the Burger V22. It's pretty decent. I've never tried that amplifier, but some people really like them as well. Eric says, hello from California, still looking for great P90 aftermarket pickups. I am. No, actually, I lined up a set of P90s that are going to be coming in private winder. Someone's going to be sending me a set. It's a surprise. And when I upgrade them, I'll let you guys in on it with a video. Cool Tunes Made Easy. Sorry, I was mispronouncing it. The writing on my screen here is a little bit small, and sometimes I have trouble reading very small writing, so I'm glad you corrected me there. Sorry about that. So, guys, just in wrap up here, I wanted to go over a couple of things that I used to set up my guitars. I had a whole bunch of like items that I wanted to show you, and what I use to do the fret leveling and everything else for those like the people that geek out over this stuff. But unfortunately, I think we ran a little bit low. I was only planning on going an hour, and it's almost been 2 hours. So I guess I'll save that for maybe Sunday morning, next Sunday morning. If you guys want to tune in for that, we can go over that stuff together if you're into that as well. Um, the uh, the funny thing, one of the other funny things that I noticed, and I just want to mention that in passing on the Ernie Ball website, because I'm a fan of Ernie Ball guitars and strings and picks and all kinds of stuff, and they mentioned recently that they're coming out with a tuner pedal, and the interesting thing is that they decided to put the tuner pedal inside of a volume pedal. So it's a volume pedal and tuner in one, with the screen of the tuner pedal right like in the heel. Like, let me try and explain this to you. Let's say this is the tuner pedal, right? This is the tuner pedal where you would press with your foot. Well, the volume pedal, I mean, the tuner screen is right there in the volume pedal. So you can see the tuning, and you can also see when you're pressing down or up the level of the volume. I thought that was ridiculous. I don't understand why they would do that. Why would you put a screen on a pedal like surface where you're going to put your foot on it? It makes no sense. Your foot's going to be on it. You won't be able to see the screen. The screen's going to get damaged. I don't know. Somebody was smoking something over at Ernie Ball. If ever the people that are going to be putting out products at Ernie Ball need some advice, I'd be happy to assist them. Ask me first. I'm going to tell you that thing's going to flop. Just my opinion. But if you guys haven't seen it, check it out on the Ernie Ball website. You'll see what I mean. It's just a bad idea all around. Sasha says, thanks for all your help tonight. I really appreciate you showing up during these strange times. Playing guitar and researching gear has been my saving grace. Totally agree with you, Sasha. I appreciate, and I gotta thank you guys, because honestly, talking to you guys, if I didn't have the opportunity to do this, I'd probably be like going up the walls with exactly what you said. These strange times, the guitar and gear is way less expensive than psychological help. So you're better off spending your money on guitars and gear than psychologists, in my opinion. So I think we have to help each other get through this thing together. And it'll blow over, guys. Don't panic. It will. Just stay set on the course. Do what people tell you to do. Keep yourself at home, clean, and avoid any kind of public situations if you can until this thing blows over. And we'll come out the other side stronger, I think. Right? At least in the meantime, we'll be able to talk gear, and that's always a good thing. I mean, it's not that bad. Think about it. You're home. You're home. You don't have to work. People are telling you to stay home, and you get to stay in your studio and talk gear with your buddies online. That's not too bad. The key is not to find the energy to play the guitar. It's to find the energy to practice playing the guitar. Victor says we need more guitar reviews without sound. I agree with you. I know you're being sarcastic, Victor, but trust me, they'll be mixed up. Some will have sound, some won't have sound. I'll keep you on your toes. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate your thumbs up there, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm gonna wrap it up now. It's 5 minutes to 12. We don't want to miss the Twilight Zone, right? If any other Twilight Zones are out there, just kidding. But not really. I really do like the Twilight Zone. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate sticking around for 2 hours. This was a very long one. I wasn't intending to go this long, but once I get started, somebody's got to stop me. Um, so I really appreciate all the kind words of support. And like I said, guys, definitely keep tuning into my videos if you can. I really do appreciate your comments and your feedback, good or bad. I really like it. And I really hope that everyone that is on this chat and on my future chats will stay healthy and happy, and that we'll see each other over and over again. Please take all the precautions that you can take to make sure that you're healthy. All right. I would hate to have anything bad happen to any of my viewers. And that's it. I appreciate it. If it's your first live session, guys, keep in mind we do this every Sunday. Normally we do this Sunday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Today was a special event, 10 o'clock Eastern time, PM. Next week we'll be back in the morning, all right? And then we'll switch it up from there. I'll keep you posted on what we're going to end up doing. But that's it for now. Thank you for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Like I always say, stay tuned. Keep rocking. There's going to be more stuff coming right here on Addicted to Gear. So see you guys all soon. Have a good evening.